following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League.
On this episode of the Panthers Huddle, the Panthers close out the preseason in Buffalo, and head coach Dave Canales joins us to talk about pregame prep and how the newest Panther stars are fitting in with the team.
Plus, I go one-on-one with Trevin Wallace.
And Cart Talk is back. See who's getting grilled by JJ.
We took a little break. It was like a writer's strike. But now we're back.
Hello and welcome inside the Panthers Huddle. I'm Kristen Balboni.
And I'm Thomas Davis.
All right, TD, we're going to get straight into it because we've seen more preseason action. We have got to break it down with you. What do you feel about starters playing in the preseason?
You know, there's so many different variables that go into whether or not a starter should play or if they shouldn't play. We've been hit with the injury bug a little bit, and I think that's kind of has these coaches a little apprehensive about putting guys in. You got to get back used to the speed of the game. It's not the same as you're going to get in a practice setting, but if your team is banged up and you have a lot of guys that are injured, it's smart to make the decision and not put those guys out there in that action, because at the end of the day, you want them out there for week one.
Well, you mentioned the injury bug. One guy that was hit by it, unfortunately, Dane Jackson, was going to be the starting cornerback. But so we've seen guys both in joint practices and in the preseason games rotating in. How would you feel if you were the defensive coordinator about the depth at DB?
Obviously, it's tough to lose a guy like Dane Jackson, but when you have the opportunity to get valuable reps to your backups and really find out what these guys are capable of doing in real life game situations, I think it's very important. And as the D coordinator, as the DB coach, you want to see your guys get those opportunities because you got to understand and know what you're working with. And I think these guys have shown up well so far in the preseason.
You know, I got to ask you about linebackers. So
absolutely, we
know Shaq. We know Josie Jewell, the veterans that have put in the work. We'll see them out on the field plenty. What about the other guys that are cycling in and out?
KB, that's the position that I feel like is heating
up. Is the best.
It's always the best, but it's definitely heating up. If you look at these guys, they're making the decision hard on this coaching staff because they're showing up, they're making plays, they're going out and they're being productive. And that's what you want to see in a coaching staff when you are watching film and you are evaluating talent. You want to make sure that these guys, first and foremost, they know what they're doing, they're playing fast, and you get the chance to really evaluate their talent from what they're able to put on film. And these linebackers, they've shown up week in and week out, play in and play out. They're always making plays.
All right, TD, you mentioned making plays. We're going to let you see some guys making plays in the preseason home opener versus the Jets. It's this week's Bojangles Rewind.
Joint practice this Thursday where we saw the Jets ones and the Panthers ones. Carolina balled out. Bryce Young drew rave reviews. The defense, 5 takeaways, while the offense did not have a single giveaway. A lot of positives from that joint practice. We spin it to tonight. Again, we're not going to see the usual suspects. Then go the motion man, pressure off the edge. Plummer from the outside, hauled in by Terrace Marshall. And that takes it into Jet territory. Eddie Pinheiro from 35 yards out puts it through. He came into the game having made 31 straight regular season field goals here at home. So Zuerlein will come on for a field goal attempt. And Zuerlein's kick is good. We're tied at 3. About ready for the start of the second half here at Bank of America Stadium. Martinez a threat with his legs as the QB. Panthers rush 5, down the middle, intercepted. Carolina gets the takeaway. It's Damani Richardson.
Being in the right place at the right time. The rush is coming, reads the eyes of the quarterback, throws it right in the bread basket, and he gets him in muffin.
We got a field goal try here. And the kick is good. 5 field goals for the Jets. Panthers not calling timeout. 6 seconds, 5 seconds. Luton hands off to Johnson, spins away, and crosses the goal line for a touchdown at the horn. Wow. Final score, Jets 15, Carolina 12. The Panthers get their first touchdown of the preseason on the final play of the game.
How comfortable do you feel if you go into the regular season without playing in a preseason game?
All
I'll be comfortable either way. Again, I know that they're not just waking up and rolling the dice. There's a reason for everything. You know, they're very calculated in what they're doing. They have our best interests at heart. They know what's best. They've had a lot of success throughout at different places. The staff, they're very knowledgeable. They know what they're doing. So I'll be confident whatever the call is.
I wasn't here last year, but you know, me just being here, I feel like everything's just going ascended up, and we feel like we bringing that energy.
You know, we want to play physical up front, and I feel like those guys just encapsulate that. And also how smart those guys are. You know, obviously those guys have been in situations. All those guys have had a little bit more success, you know, we have in the past. So kind of just bringing that knowledge to the offensive line and just sharing that with us about some of the little things that we got to do to be better. I feel like it's been a big improvement for us. I'm definitely glad to have those guys. And, you know, Austin's been great at center, by the way, in case y'all was wondering. Doing good.
My personal style of coaching and getting to know the guys and kind of building a relationship that they know I've got their back and vice versa, you know, and I think that's important. You know, this is, at the end of the day, we all know it's a business, but at the same time, it's a people business, you know, and when you can reach them, they know you have their best interests at heart. I think they're going to go out and they're going to try to do what you ask them to do.
Coming up, head coach Dave Canales joins us to talk about some of the newest names on the roster.
If you just give him a split second more, he's about to separate.
This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers television network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Welcome back to the Huddle. I'm here with head coach Dave Canales. Coach, appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, what a perfect morning we have right now.
Absolutely. So let's talk preseason. It is such a great time for this new staff to get together. You're on the field together. Just want to know how that's going.
It's been great. You know, the thing that I relished getting to experience was being able to be on the headsets for both sides, offense and defense, to hear the calls, hear the communication, the tips that go into our inside linebackers. You know, of course, I've been a part of the offensive side, but I've been really pleased just with the focus and the clear communication that happens with our coaching staff. A lot of the guys on the offensive side I've worked with before, so we have some pretty good rhythms. Some of them just have never been with me as a play caller, so we've been able to just go through these drives and say, hey, I'd like a little bit more of this, a little less of that, working through things that way. George Lee is my eye in the sky, and he and I are just in constant communication throughout the game, in tune with the different situations to be able to challenge things, use timeouts, go for it on fourth, some of those conversations. It's been fantastic.
That's wonderful to hear. You know, the question that everyone always asks head coaches, I'm going to ask you here, what's the pregame routine?
Yeah, so I typically get there, and Brad and I have been doing this. This is year 6 for us. We get a nice workout before the game, do a couple of plyometric kind of dynamic movements going around the field, usually finish off with some bands, a little bit of core, and then after that, you know, I shower up, grab my call sheet, grab some food, and just kind of call a few drives and just get the flow of the personnel's in and out, the situations and those things. So that's basically my routine, and after that I'm ready to go, and I'm just there to just connect with the players and just kind of see where they're at emotionally, mentally, and just kind of rattle the cages a little bit and just say, hey, let's wake up, let's go, you know. And guys are really focused and in their lane, but trying to bring them out of that as they get ready to play a football game.
Speaking of offensive coordinator, Brad, you said like you guys go through that pregame routine. I also saw at the home game, your old coworker, Robert Saleh, he was running the stairs, right? Is that something you get from your old boss, Pete Carroll, since you both worked for him?
Actually, Pete never worked out before the game.
Really? So he saved all his energy for in-game,
Absolutely. Huh? And so that was really just something that as a staff, he always challenged us to go for it. You know, always compete, win forever. And the way that I internalized that was, he's talking about winning at everything. He's talking about competing in all areas of your life, and certainly fitness and wellness and all those things are really important to me and to the guys on staff. So, so yeah, Robert and I kind of just developed that in different ways over the years. You know, I definitely have to give Robert the edge. You know, like if he's got the courage to take on the stadiums, the stairs, you know, and get that kind of workout. And just kind of looking at him, you know, he just kind of looks pretty, you know, pretty yoked right now. So, you know, he and I had a good laugh about that. And actually some of his players Tyron Smith and another offensive lineman came over and were like, looks like you guys we could end this practice right now. You guys can get a competition, a workout going. So.
I love to hear that. So let's switch gears a little bit to looking ahead to the regular season. I want to talk about some of the players that Panthers fans, they're going to get to know their names real quick if they haven't already. Let's start with some of the free agents that are coming in. Deontay Johnson. Tell me what you love about him.
Deontay is in constant motion. And so I think the thing that he brings to us, which is beautiful, is he had a lot of experience with Ben Roethlisberger early on, extending plays beyond the first play. So the timing, the critical timing of the first part of the play is just one part of it. And then as the quarterback extends the play, his reactions are so spontaneous. They're instant, you know, and is a ton of energy going to open space, and we've seen that come alive in our practices. And his just ability to be open by the end of the play is like, if you just give him a split second more, he's about to separate, and he's just shown that reliability from a receiver standpoint. He's going to be open at some point in this play.
He told me that, you know, after they leave the building, he and Bryce Young get together and go through plays so that they can really, you know, hone in on what they want to do, which I thought was so cool. You got to love that as a head coach.
Yeah, just glad to hear, right? It's all about chemistry. It's me to you factor. The more time you spend together, the more you can anticipate what you're going to do in different situations.
Someone else that will be with them on that offense, Robert Hunt. Tell me about him.
Yeah, big, powerful man with elite feet. You know, so he can kind of mirror the quicker guys. He can power up with the bigger guys. I've just really enjoyed he and Derek Brown just getting after it this camp, making each other better. Iron sharpens iron. We got a bunch of matchups that way at different positions, but that one really gets to highlight, you know, two fantastic players that we have. And I've just been so pleased with Robert's just his buy-in, you know, his effort, and just his consistency and being out there on the field.
Let's switch to the defensive side now. A'Shawn Robinson. What do you like about him?
Well, the complement on the other side of Derek Brown. So we talked about Derek. That's kind of your anchor on one side. You know, you got Shy in the middle. It's fantastic. And then you got A'Shawn Robinson. And can't talk about those guys without mentioning Coach Todd Wash. He does a fantastic job of building their readiness for real football, for game-like football. And he's challenging them in individual drills, challenging them throughout the practice to chase the ball, and those guys really take it to heart, and they've really championed the cause for the team of the effort that we're looking for in a practice. On every single rep, there's an opportunity for game readiness from a mental standpoint, technique standpoint, and a physical conditioning standpoint. And so that group has been really like our A+ students in terms of just setting the culture for what we want.
Lastly, you know, I got to ask you about Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about him.
Jadeveon, when he's on the field, it's 100 miles an hour, and he's been really disruptive at times this camp as we're trying to develop the rhythm of our offense. And when Jadeveon's out there, I mean, it's every couple of plays, you know, he's causing the run game or the pass game to change what we're doing and affect us in different ways. And I love seeing that disruptiveness of his play. That's what we're counting on going this season.
Well, I know Panthers fans have already enjoyed what they have seen from those guys. We certainly can't wait to see them in the regular season. Coach, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Up next, I go one-on-one with Trevin Wallace.
Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
What's up? This is an Inside the Huddle exclusive, and I'm right here with my favorite rookie of this draft class, Trevin Wallace. Listen, coming out of Kentucky, I had the opportunity to watch you a lot. I'm a big SEC guy. I love SEC football players, and you were a guy that just jumped out the film for me. The way that you went out and played reminded me a lot of myself. Talk to us a little bit about your incoming experience being the rookie in the NFL.
It was fun, because obviously I got Shaq and Josie in there. And I can say they like my brothers, you know, I listen to them a lot. They like, you know, the older heads. You know, sometimes though I be looking at them like, hey, like, do y'all really be meaning stuff like that? Because they be joking around a lot, but then sometimes they serious, and I like that. Coming in, it was all open arms, you know, all open arms. I ain't feel like an outcast. As soon as I came in, I was like, hey, like we a brotherhood, and I love that.
That's awesome, Trevin. So tell us, what has been your biggest difference coming from college into the NFL?
I say the biggest difference is how fast the O lineman is. Like, they real quick. Like, I would never expect somebody 300+ pounds running that fast. So it was just like getting used to that, because, you know, in SEC they're bigger, but they're not as quick as, you know, when they get to the league. So I say that's the thing, like quick. You got to be more efficient and lateral moving, no waste steps, because if you waste a step, they're already on you.
So you guys had the opportunity to have a joint practice against the Jets, and, you know, they have a quarterback that was in my draft class, Aaron Rodgers, you know, who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever he decides to retire. You had the opportunity to intercept Aaron Rodgers, and I saw you had another pick out here today, so it says a lot about your hands and about your skills and being able to pick up the defensive scheme. What was that like to be able to intercept Aaron Rodgers?
It was wonderful, you know, 4-time MVP. Not a lot of people get to say that. Like, not a lot of people get to go home and say, dang, I picked up Aaron Rodgers. Like, not a lot of people say that, because, you know, he's a great quarterback, a future Hall of Famer, but he know where his reads at and all that. But when I did it, I was like, dang. Like, I was stuck for a minute. I was like, did I really just pick up Aaron Rodgers? Like, and what's crazy is I spoke it to this. I told one of my homeboys, I said, if I pick up Aaron Rodgers today, I said, I'm not gonna know what to do. And I picked him off, and I was like, dang, I spoke it to this. So it was just crazy, like having that moment, picking off, you know, a 4-time MVP.
My final question for you, like myself, you grew up in the country, right? We talked about this. We had this discussion.
He won, because he only got a stop sign. He was proud of that. Like, who was proud to have a stop sign? He wanted that. But in my defense, I'm still more country, way more country, but he won though.
We was talking about who hometown was the countryest. He's like, we only got 5,000 people. I'm like, 5,000 people?
He proud of that. Like, what's so happy to have 1,000 people?
You started the conversation. You told me that you were more country than us.
He see the same people every day.
We have 1,000 people in my hometown.
He see the same.
Talking about 5,000?
He see the same people every day. He proud of that. Who proud of that?
That's a big city compared to us.
He proud of that.
I am proud of that.
But guess what? My high school football was way better than his.
Y'all nobody care about that.
My high school was way better than his.
Y'all got 5,000 people in your hometown. They better be better. You got 4,000 more people to add to your team. There's a lot of people that you can win arguments with. I'm not one of them. You understand?
Hey, just know.
Do you understand?
I understand. But listen, this for the camera. Just know, if I was running back here, linebacker, I'm running him straight over.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
That's a whole lot of BS. You better go check the film. The Panther linebacker legacy, that's a big legacy that you're stepping in. But I could definitely tell you without a doubt that I'm excited to watch you play this year. You are one of my favorite players, and I'm not just saying this because I'm interviewing you right now, but I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, so don't let me down.
I'm not.
Signing out.
You know, TD, long snappers aren't always the most talked about player on an NFL team.
We've got one that does all the talking himself. That's right, Cart Talk is back, and let's see who's in the hot seat with J.J. Jensen.
All right, here we go. Season 2, episode 3, around
1 and 2.
Icky and Josie. We took a little break. It was like a writer's strike, but now we're back.
A writer's strike.
I want to congratulate you first of all.
I appreciate it.
You are the first 2-time guest on Cart Talk.
Hey, I'm just trying to, strive for greatness. So my little girl's here now, so we have a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 2-month-old. So our house is a little crazy.
Have you heard that kids are expensive?
I've experienced it a little bit.
When you were a kid, when you were doing when you were at the swimming pool, were you like a big cannonball guy, belly flop, high dive? What were you doing?
Always a little bit chunkier kid, so I was the cannonball belly flop guy.
Okay. What was your preferred move?
I think probably started the back pool wall and run as fast as I can and tuck the knees.
The knees.
Let it go and tuck the knees.
So this year we did training camp here in Charlotte, first time really ever. What were some of the highlights of being here in Charlotte versus away from the family in Spartanburg?
Definitely getting to go home. Definitely getting to go home at night.
One of the things I've noticed in the locker room is you guys are a pretty tight-knit group, because when I get attacked by Shy for sensitivity or least amount of swag, which obviously we're doing arm sleeve this year, I've got my hair, we're swagging out, but I've noticed that the whole D-line, it's like usually me versus the whole D-line. So
it's a brotherhood.
You guys are tight.
And I don't think people really understand how much that actually helps the play on the field to actually be close with the person next to you.
Sure.
And have that relationship. It's different.
We got you the first ever Cart Talk with J.J. Jansen t-shirt. So that one's for you, buddy.
They grade you up, man.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate it. Great
Appreciate
job.
you, brother.
This was fun. Car Talk Season 2, Part 2. We're back. And let's have a great year, all right, buddy?
Let's do it, man.
All right, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Okay, TD, we talked about the defense earlier. Let's talk now about the offense in the Coke 3 keys.
My 3 keys leaving this preseason, without a doubt, is first one, KB, we have to make sure that we solidify this offensive line rotation. We know that there have been a ton of guys banged up in and out of the lineup, but that's going to be important to make sure that we have that solidified. Number 2, the timing between the quarterback and the receiver. We got to make sure that our timing is exactly where it needs to be going into week 1. And the most important key going into week 1, leaving this preseason, is without a doubt making sure that Bryce Young is confident with everything that's been installed in this playbook. I feel like he's a very smart kid. He understands what's going on, and he picks up things at a high level. That's what we heard about. I just feel like that's one of the biggest things. As long as Bryce is comfortable, we're going to be in a good place.
All right, offense, you heard TD. Time to start taking notes. Those were the 3 keys to the offense. All right, that's all the time we have for today, TD, but we of course want to thank head coach Dave Canales and Trevin Wallace for giving us some time. Thank you so much for watching the Panthers Huddle. I'm Kristen Balboni. This is Thomas Davis. You've got the 2 most important words for us.
Keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.